Action Film Autopsy.
It gets better every time. It gets better every week. Look at that. Awesome, man. Oh, yeah. Open hands. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job, man.
What is going on? It's your boy Preston, Fat Samurai Guy, back again with another episode of Action Film Autopsy with the one and only Kung Fu Santa himself, Ric Meyers. Rick, welcome back, brother.
Nice to be here on Halloween Eve.
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes. Happy Halloweeny, everyone.
That's right.
We're going to get it out of the way now. We'll be streaming tomorrow. But yeah, it's good to see everyone. We got Jake Hall in the house. There
Jake.
we go. Hey, more certified badass channel members. What is going on? Michael Gonzalez. Hey. We got Champ from Louisiana. He's ready for some action film autopsy. And we have a little extra bonus awesomeness at the end of the episode today. Yes, we're going to talk about Rick's top 10 horror films. Yes. We got a little extra bonus just for all you horror fans out there.
And stay tuned because I'm sure it'll be controversial.
It may be. But since we have everybody here right now, let's remind everyone that they can.
You want a piece of me?
You want a piece of me?
You want a piece of me?
Oh, you want a piece of me? You want a piece of me?
You want a piece of me?
You got it! Get a piece of Rick.
Awesome. Listen, if you follow me on Facebook, you also knew I got rid of the rest of my DVDs. After Michael Woods and my other friend, Bernard Briggs, got 300 of my DVDs. The remaining 200 I put up for clearance on Facebook, and you all came through. I sent these DVDs all over the country and the world. I sent some to Belgium. I sent some to Denmark. And now I have empty shelves that I'm able to fill up with new books and other fun things, but not DVDs. Just call me Best Buy.
There you go. Well, you are literally Best Buy now, Rick, because they're going to be stopping selling physical media anyway.
That's why I decided to get rid of all of mine, because it just sort of takes up space at this point.
Yeah. So if you guys want a piece of Rick's collection, check the description box below. Send you straight to the shop, and you can get awesome goodies there, autographs, all that cool stuff.
And hurry up, because I just my guy there, my curator at Chimera Publishing, he said he just sold my classic Mighty Mouse collectible.
Oh wow!
For big bucks.
Wow, gee, see, there's a lot of cool stuff there. You got to check it out.
Photos and all sorts of things.
Yeah, here Rick comes to save the day. That's right. We got Brian in the house. Happy Halloween, Brian. Yeah. There we go. Sean saying, hello, Fat Samurai Guy. And KFS. Good to see everyone. Yes. Good to see everyone in. All right. So we have some shows and movies that Rick was going to discuss today. And then again, don't forget, we got a little bonus at the end. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Yeah. And right off the bat, do you want to get started, Rick, with the first one?
Yeah. Since, of course, October is the big month for horror movies and horror shows and horror everything. Everything is doing the Halloween thing for the month of October. Yeah. So I thought it was going to be a tough month for me because, it's like that's not the first stuff I go to, even though I've been editor of Famous Monsters magazine. I've been editor of Movie Monsters magazines. I've written 5 horror novels. I've written a nonfiction book on horror exploitation films. I worked in horror movies. I was the co-writer, although I'm listed in the credits as background research, which is the secret word they give to secret co-writers, on Just Before Dawn, to my mind, one of the best slasher movies ever made. Matter of fact, it was a pioneer of the slasher movie film way back when, directed by Jeff Lieberman. So I've worked in all this stuff, but it's not something I gravitate to naturally. So I thought I was going to have a tough time this month. No, I was very pleasantly surprised. And we're going to start with my favorite horror of the month. I tried to watch a bunch of other horror and slasher and killer movies and stuff, and I'm going, oh no, not my cup of tea. But these two I got into and was more than pleasantly surprised by. So
I've heard Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard positive things on both of these, but yeah, let's talk about the first one here. Saw X Jigsaw. Shall we play a game?
I tell you, one of the thing I immediately noticed about Saw X is if you turn the title upside down, do you know what it spells?
X was?
Xmas.
Oh, X
Xmas.
was.
It's Xmas. It says it's perfect for Kung Fu Santa.
There you go.
It spells Xmas. What I'm really loving about the horror movies now is that everybody from Blumhouse and A24 and everybody else is noticing that the rest of them are all the same. And the way that they're going to be better is that they're going to make these movies smarter. You know me, I'm not badass, I'm wise ass or smart ass.
Yeah.
And so Saw X, it's done by the whole Saw team. There's nobody really, I mean, it's Kevin Grutert, who is the editor, I think, of almost all the Saw movies, and all the Saw movies have been very well edited. But now he's moving into, and I think the last two movies, I think he directed, and he came back. He was brought back for this one, and it's the writers are again the same people who worked on the other, but each one they've been given permission not to make the same old movie. Because I think, was it last week I was talking about the slasher movies? Producers love slasher movies because the audience will accept anything you give them. So now the Saw guys go, we're not going to do the same old stuff. We're going to get it better. I thought they were going to do that on the last one, the one that Chris Rock was involved in.
Spiral.
Yeah, Spiral, because that could have been just so great. And it wasn't. It was just so mediocre. And the whole idea was having a great black comedian do his take on horror, the way Get Out was done, and Nope was done by the great Jordan Peele.
Yeah, Jordan, yeah.
But no, Chris Rock, just made, and he made the villain a black guy, and was like, no. That the whole idea is that you wanted to get against. But anyway, so that was a huge disappointment. So I thought Saw X was just going to be more of the same.
Right.
What they did, which was genius, is it's a direct sequel to the original Saw.
Okay.
And it uses the star of Saw. I'm going to keep saying Shaw because I'm thinking of the Shaw brothers.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know, thanks to Frank, they did a documentary with me, which appears on the new Shaw Brothers Volume 3 set from the Shout Factory.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to say Saw, but all I can think about is Shaw. Yeah. But in any case, so Saw X, Saw 10 uses Tobin Bell, wonderful actor.
Oh, yeah.
And the producer of the film said the biggest mistake we ever made on this series was killing that character off. Because the whole idea is he has cancer. The character has cancer.
Right.
So he pushed up his desire to teach people internal lessons.
Yeah.
But then in the sequels, he's gone, and they have all these, lookalikes and all these guys who want to be like him. Copycats. Thank you. But here they bring him back.
That's awesome.
And from the very first moment the camera rests on his face, the whole energy of the film changes. He is just an amazing, charismatic character. It just emanates tragedy. He emanates pain. He emanates hope. It's just so great. And the whole plot line is about him taking revenge on people who take advantage of him because he has cancer. I mean, this is nothing new I think this is in the trailers as well. Some people who say they have a miracle cure.
Yeah.
Cheat him out of $250,000. And so the rest of the movie is him going, you've been a naughty boy, Clement. It's time to nail your head to the floor. And
payback.
And that's the blood. I mean, it's my favorite part of the movie is the first quarter, which most people say, well, you have to get through the first quarter and then it takes off. It certainly does. They have a dream sequence, which they portray on the poster to keep you going through the first quarter. But the first quarter was my favorite part because it establishes the foundation
builds it
of
up.
the movie.
Right.
And then Bill immediately gets into loads and loads and loads of blood.
Yes.
And
I'm sold.
yeah, but the thing is that the blood didn't bother me because
Yeah.
they basically say this is what you're going to get,
Right.
and
Right.
he's
Right.
doing it for a good purpose. And then it turns into a mystery. It becomes
Nice.
a spy, not a spy versus spy, but because there's no heroes in this. These are
Right.
all
Right. Right.
terrible human beings.
Yeah.
These are all villains, but it's villain versus villain, and you're going to see who wins.
Yeah.
And it's
That's
just,
awesome.
and so there's a lot of, again, you know what I love?
Yeah.
Not just mind candy,
Right.
not just eye candy, mind
Mind
candy.
candy. Yeah.
This has got loads of mind, and it's perfect for Halloween because mind candy, blood candy, mind candy. It was just terrific. And by the end of it, I'm just going, I really hope that they do. I forgot what series one of you watchers could tell me about it. There was a series that realized they had made a mistake and they should have done something. They should have done a bunch of sequels. So I hope they do that. I hope they keep the Tobin Bell character alive.
Yeah.
And they do a whole bunch of these movies in between Saw 1 and 2.
Sure.
Now, who knows how much time passed between 1 and 2? So
Yeah.
just keep them
Why
going.
not?
I'll watch 11. I'll watch 12. I don't care.
Yeah.
It was very good, and the action was very good. It was there was no fights per se, but it was mental action. Again,
Right.
for me, that's an action movie. Mind candy.
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah.
Good movie.
Nice. Awesome. But speaking of going back a little bit when you mentioned Frank Jang, and congrats on their documentary for the Shaw Brothers box set. That's awesome.
And also
But
the one, go ahead.
But Shin here, just says, "Happy Halloween! I got the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray edition this afternoon." He enjoyed you and Frank's commentary.
No, it's the Frank Jang commentary with Ric Meyers.
Yeah.
It's not my commentary, believe me.
Yeah.
I just had to watch him complain because he wanted to. I think I told you about this. He wanted to do the audio commentary at the pool during San Diego Comic-Con, and then was upset when guys who wanted to use the pool came close to us. And I'm going, we're in, what? Oh, Frank. But thank you for including me on that commentary.
Yeah. Hey,
Brian.
Hey, Egg Shen. Good to see everyone here.
Yeah, so definitely watch Saw X. And
Nice.
let me know what you think of it if you're a big Saw fan. Because I wasn't a big Saw fan after he died after number 1. I really love number 1. I saw that at the very beginning. Another great mystery.
I'll have to play catch up because, to be honest, I forgot which one I left off on. I don't know if it was 5, 6, 5. I don't remember, so I got to catch up.
I say skip everything. Just skip it. Just watch X. Watch X.
All right. Next up we have is Totally Killer. Like, gag me with a spoon, okay?
This is very similar to some of my favorite horror movies, which are like Scream.
Yeah.
And Freaky. It's because it's more than the thing I loved about Scream is it was not only a Playfair mystery, it was not only a Playfair slasher film, but it was a satire of slasher films at the same time. So Totally Killer is a lot of movies in once. It's a double slasher film, slasher movie. It's a Back to the Future. It's a Groundhog Day. It's a black comedy done by one of my favorite comedy people. It's directed by Nahnatchka Khan, who made one of my favorite television shows, my cult television shows called Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23. That was her television show. And I love that show. But then she did Fresh Off the Boat, and now most recently she was the showrunner on Young Rock with Dwayne Johnson. So she did this movie with James Michalopoulos, which is his first time as an action choreographer. All his other jobs have been stuntmen. So this is his first chance to do the actual choreography. And they also have the wonderful Kiernan Shipka and Olivia Holt playing the characters, the main characters who are trying to. It's just a great movie. It's so much fun. The satire is awesome. It's 80s satire. It really is, and it's also Freaky Friday. It's so many movies all in once with good action, legitimate slasher stuff, and really good mystery stuff. I was just like, wow, they made these movies for me. I can come back to the slasher genre,
Yeah.
what I call the terror genre or the murder genre.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this
So,
shot
yeah.
right here, I was already sold. I was like, whoa, what is this? This looks awesome.
Oh yeah, and they have some fights in the time machine she winds up in, which are really well done, and everybody is clearly saying, "All right, this is our chance to show off." And the choreographer does it, the director does it, the writer does it, the actors do it. It's a fine film. I may watch it
Nice.
again.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. Totally Killer. Nice. Copy that.
Totally
Now,
Killer is Totally Killer.
there you go. There you go. Now, your favorite genre of all time, bad assassins, bad assassins. But is the action worthwhile for, not to be confused with the upcoming Ana de Armas ballerina,
Right.
but ballerina?
This is not the John Wick spinoff. I thought it
Right.
was originally when you told me about it. I thought it was the spinoff. It's not the
Right.
spinoff. It's
No.
a Korean. It's in the Korean hitman tradition.
Yes.
Because they had one I think we talked about last episode or the episode before, and this is a new one. And man, it starts off great.
Oh,
The
I'm scared.
opening sequence in
Okay.
this thing was terrific. The fight scene, let's see, it's the director is Chung Hyung Lee. I couldn't find the choreographer of the fight scenes because when you go to IMDb with a Korean film, they go, no, we're not going to do that. And there's a Chinese IMDb, but I couldn't find a Korean IMDb. There must be one, but I haven't found it yet. So I don't know who choreographed this, but the opening sequence is very similar, and I thought it was being directed by the same guy who did Baby Assassins, which is on Well Go. It has that kind of choreography.
Oh, really?
It's that tight.
Kensuke.
Yeah. But no, it's a Korean film. But it starts. I got something in my eye. I got fighting in my eye. But in any case, it starts off in very similarly to Baby Assassins. Baby Assassins also starts off in a convenience store, like a 7-Eleven.
Right.
But this is a Korean one. So it starts off in that. A bunch of guys come in. This is from the climax. We'll get to that's the last 20 minutes of the movie. It starts in the convenience store. Two guys come in. There's a guy who's just like playing a video game. The guy who works at the convenience store. A bunch of guys come in, and the first thing that happens is they punch him right in the eye.
Okay.
And he's like, oh, and they start ripping it off and taking all the money. And suddenly, they hear a female voice go, "Excuse me, could you give me change for this?"
Yeah.
And the guys who are robbing him, the gang, it turns out to be like 4 or 5 guys in the place. They find that there's this girl just standing in between them, like they hadn't seen her before. And already I'm going, ooh, she's good. She's able to, like sneak in.
Nice.
And the guy behind the counter with a hurt eye, with a black eye, just sort of and he goes to go for the cash register, but meanwhile they're still taking money out of the cash register and putting in their bag. And she looks down at where they're putting it in the bag and goes, "Oh, I'll get my change out of this." And she starts getting the change out of the bag. And the gang guys are looking at each other like, who is this bee in apartment 23? Who is this? And so the guy who's in the front, who's the boss man, he looks at the rest of the gang and sort of like makes a nod toward the girl. And you see the guy behind takes out his knife and goes for the girl. But they're shooting from here up. And the knife seemingly goes in. And the guy behind the counter is like, and then the girl just sort of looks at him. The camera goes down, their heads go down. She's holding a can of peaches. She's holding a can of peaches right where the knife was. And the knife went into the can of peaches.
Yeah.
And they all look at her, and then she moves. She starts. It's one of the best fights with a female protagonist that I've seen.
Yes.
Because she doesn't do anything stupid. well, this is again at the end.
Okay.
I'll tell you about what the ending too.
All right.
She uses rather than using her fist, which is dumb because she can hurt her fist.
Right.
She keeps her hand on the can and uses the can as her fist, and
All right.
also uses the knife in the can. And she's just doing the whole Jackie Chan spinning thing. And what's great is when she's spinning, that powers her leg. She doesn't do one of those stupid things that all the white girls do in the Amazon action movies, white girls, the American Amazon Netflix action movies with women as the leads, because they sort of stand in one place. They do the Taekwondo kind of kick where they just sort of have an anchored leg and their other leg goes out. And the anchored leg is ridiculous because all you have to do is hit that and they're defeated. But in any case, she doesn't do that. She lets her spinning power her kick because she just brings her leg up and wham.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm going, oh, this is going to be the greatest movie I've ever seen.
Uh-oh.
Nope.
God damn it.
Immediately thereafter, right after that fight scene, she goes from being smart. It turns out, much to my surprise, that fight scene was a flashback. You see later in the film where that scene went.
Okay.
But they were very smart because they said, because from here on in, I think it's an hour and 46 minutes long. And for the next, 50 minutes, 55 minutes, she is just a miserable, sad, morose. I don't want to call her a bee, but she's just, all right. She's a morose bitch.
Yeah.
From then on, from that, when she goes back, the whole idea is that she's not the ballerina.
Okay.
She's taking revenge for the ballerina who commits suicide because of reasons you'll see in the movie.
Right.
And she spends a lot of time wandering through the movie, being really miserable and depressed. And it's like, oh man, oh wow, I got to find out why should I hardly knew this girl who committed suicide and is asking me because the girl's supposedly an ex-bodyguard, and I'm going, well, if she has a can of peaches with her all the time, that would be great, or even a can of peas. I don't care. She could be the can bodyguard.
Yeah.
But finally, in the last, and then you see where the fight scene came in, and they skip over it, and she goes back to being, oh, I'm so depressed. And they get to the finale when she finally is able to get to where she wants to go. She finds the villains. The villains are all, and you look at their face. Look at her face. Again, it's just like Frozen. She has that Frozen face. And the villains are all the traffickers. They're gun traffickers, drug traffickers, human traffickers.
Yeah, yeah.
Everything. It's a huge Korean crime syndicate. And they've been building up. By the way, you guys who are watching, vote if I spoiler alert, because I'm going to tell you, because there's a moment when she finally faces this guy who's been built up beautifully.
Oh, no.
He's this wonderful villain.
Oh, no.
Who is just very arrogant, incredibly rich, think he owns the world. All right, I won't do a huge spoiler. I'll just give you a little hint.
I already know.
What is it?
It's disappointing.
No, it's not disappointing. It's great. No, it's great.
Okay.
She's facing him. She's in this huge drug factory.
Yeah.
And she says, where's the boss? Bring me to your leader. And they're all trying to see if they can get her, but she won't let them get near her. She just has the gun. And finally, by surprise, this big, huge number one villain appears from the back and says, I've been waiting for you. I've been wanting to meet you. And he sits down and he says, let's talk. And he starts doing the thing that he's done to all the other characters in the movie. He's all pretentious. He's all powerful. He's all knowing. He's all humiliating. He's doing all that stuff. And she does something that is delightful and surprising to me. And I'm saying, great, she's going back to who she was in the 7-Eleven, in the convenience store. what she does is she Deep Blue Sees him.
Okay.
If you've seen Deep Blue Sea,
Yeah.
she does that. And
Okay.
it's a huge surprise. And it's just
Okay.
awesome. I'm going, this is going to be great.
Okay.
It's not great because she goes right back to being morose again. However, it's very good. I reckon, that's part of the final fight scene. She takes on every single person in this huge warehouse of, drugs.
All right.
She takes on everybody. It's Korean. It's the kind of thing that you're used to from Old Boy. She just starts wading through them, but she does it with that frozen face. If you show the other picture, she does it all with a frozen face. And she also, I'm sort of going, and that's fine. That's a great fight. So I'm recommending you watch the first 10, 15 minutes. Then you fast forward immediately to the last 20 minutes. And then, no, not the last 20, maybe the last half hour. But then it's not over yet. There's still another villain who is responsible for the ballerina situation.
Huh.
And she finally confronts him.
Okay.
And I'm going, this is going to be great because she's learned from what she's going to Deep Blue See him too. And they're on the beach. But no, she just remains stupid and depressed and morose throughout the climax. I'm going, would you stop letting him talk? Stop letting him talk, because he's doing everything that other villain did. Yeah. Which is, he's trying to bring her down. She's sort of like trying to find out why he did this to the ballerina. And I'm going, why do you care? Just put him down.
Yes,
Yes, but she finally does. She does put him down in a very satisfying way.
Okay.
I won't. I'm trying to remember whether anybody else uses a flamethrower in a famous action movie, but now I've let the cat out of the bag. She uses a flamethrower on the beach.
All right.
And it's very cool. I'm going, why didn't you do that? You didn't have to kill. This movie should have been 90 minutes, but you spend the last 10 minutes letting him, just kill him. Yeah. She finally does. As such, not as good as Saw X, not as good as Totally Killer, but you watch those two fight scenes, worth the time. Well worth it.
There you go. The beginning and then forward to the end. All right. Next up, I came across this, Rick.
Yes,
RDX, and I was like,
"What
is this?" I gotta hit up Rick to see if he can check this out and talk about it.
Oh my gosh, this is what RRR has wrought. They would not have called it RDX if not for RRR, because RRR are also initials. So here you can see it's initials for Robert, Donnie, and Xavier.
Yes.
And it is a Malay Alam. Malay Alam is a section in the southern part of India, which has its own little area, and it has its own cinema. It turns out that Bollywood is a lot of different Indian cinemas. It's Hindi cinema, it's Telugu cinema.
Yeah.
And this is Malay Alam cinema with the Malayali people, the Indian state of Kerala. And this is the most successful movie of that form of Indian film. And it's clearly inspired by RRR. The huge difference and the very interesting difference is that RRR is totally slick. The men are really handsome. The women are really beautiful.
Yeah.
The production is really great. The sets are great.
Yeah.
The musical numbers are Oscar winning.
Mm-hmm.
Not RDX. RDX is made by a bunch of normal people. They're a bunch of very talented, normal-looking people. Yeah, you look at again, these are all super normal people. Also, they do something else that Bollywood does a lot. They borrow or inspired by international film. And this looked like it was borrowed from Paper Tigers, except instead of using Kung Fu, they're using karate.
Really?
Yeah, except that this is it's about 3 students of the karate teacher. The guy who's holding the nunchucks in the poster, he's their teacher.
Okay.
and they're trying to live up to him. And they all have individual characters, and they all excel at a different aspect of karate. One
Nice.
guy is Mr. Punchy Punchy. One guy is Mr. Kicky Kicky, and the guy with the headband, he's the nunchak guy.
All right.
And when he's unleashed, and it's still a 2.5 hour movie, and it's got, I think I counted 6 fight scenes, and they're all in very, very individual places. Every single fight scene is in a different locale. So they're using the locale to fuel the fight scene. Yeah, and also these guys are incredibly popular in their area of India. So they have this huge fight scene in a famous Malay carnival. They have this huge fight scene all over this carnival. And at the end of the carnival, they blow it up. They blow up the carnival.
Wow.
And it's all super real. And there's like no sets in this movie at all. It's all on the actual Malay streets. There's a huge fight at the end in this little section of the slums. And it was like, they're just using all of that. So again, and
Nice.
the choreography is very clever. The choreography is done by a very famous, probably the most famous choreographers in India, because they go all throughout India, not just Malay. They also do the Hindi stuff. Their name is Anbari. And it turns out they're twins. They're 2 twin choreographers. And one got into the film business first, and then the other one joined them. And then they became a duo who are attached at the hip, basically, and do all the choreography. And in this movie, they cover a lot of what they love doing is and also the editor on this is awesome as well. One of those 3 actors will start an action. They'll cut the action. One of the stuntmen will replace them, and then in slow motion, and then they'll cut to the last action. So each one of the actions is in 3 parts, but it's not disjointed. They do it all one after the other. So it's like fast, slow, fast, slow. It's like,
yeah.
And I'm going, this is super clever. This is really, and also they'll do, and half the time it's realistic, and half the time it's Bollywood exaggeration.
Yeah,
and
I'm
you
down for
never
that.
know,
Yeah.
and you never know when it's going to show up. You don't know whether the punch is going to be realistic or the punch is going to be slow motion. It's all exact. It's awesome. It's fun. The rest of it, you can take or leave, because it's the usual drama. It's still 2.5 hours long.
Right.
But they try to make the fight again. Fast forward to the fights.
Yeah.
It's and also the other thing I wasn't happy about is by the end of it, it all becomes punching again. By the end of it, they just say, they triumph at the end. So the villain gets out of jail on bail. And they just track him down and beat the shit out of him.
Why is that hilarious? That's kind of hilarious.
It just is. The whole movie is just, I spent the whole time not going, ooh, I spent the whole time going, this is fun.
That's hilarious.
And also, I didn't miss anything. I said, okay, let me go to the next fight. All right.
Yeah.
I watch this one. I treated watching it the way they treated the fight scenes, because once the fight scene was finished, I said, okay, I'll keep watching it until I get bored.
Yeah.
With the Indian drama.
Yeah.
Okay, fast forward to the next one, and they start fighting. I go, okay, watch this one.
Yeah.
And there's 6 fights. The musical numbers, they have a couple of musical numbers, but again, not as sharp. RRR just has the best one of all time. This one is good. It's fine.
Yeah.
But it's nothing compared. But the fights,
right.
Good job.
Fights. All right.
Good job. Because it has realism. It's cool.
Copy that.
Oh, now we do this next one. Oh my God.
Oh, here we go. I'm excited.
The
Flying Swordsman. Rick, I saw the trailer. I was like, oh my God, I have to watch this. I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, but I know you got to it before me. Rick, good or bad, The Flying Swordsman?
Well, at first, I was like, WTF, man. Now, I knew The Flying Swordsman, of course, is the term for wuxia, which is flying swordsman movies, heroic chivalry films.
Yes.
It's the kind of thing, it's always been the ancient Chinese version of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's all these guys with individual powers, individual costumes, individual names, who announce themselves when they walk into the room. That's wuxia. The greatest proponent of wuxia at the Shaw Brothers was Chu Huan, who was doing all these amazing movies. I call them no trap door remains unopened. It's no trap door remains unopened. And it's all like old time serials where, there's one cliffhanger after another. And a lot of them were based on books by this guy named Jin Yong, who's also known in the West as Louis Cha, who I was surprised he died in 2013. I thought he had died a long time before that, but no, he was. And this movie is based on one of, again, Jin Yong's books, which was called it was called Fox Volant of Snow Mountain. It was written in 1959, so it was based on that. And so I thought it was going to be the same thing. This movie it's done again by a bunch of young Chinese filmmakers who want to, break into the business, but they're working for China's largest streamer, which is iQIYI, right? And so they made this huge homage to the wuxia genre and to the wuxia movies, but they're doing it. They're clearly fans of Christopher Nolan.
Oh,
because basically the first half of this movie is Memento.
Oh, wow.
Also, it's an homage to Shaw Brothers, because I maintain, and I want you all to watch this movie on the Hi-YAH streaming service and tell me if there's any actual location used. I think this was all in a studio. This was all on a set on the Chinese version of the Volume, which is what Marvel uses, what Disney uses now. That huge set with the electronic stuff. But I swear this was all done on sets. So as such, it has that kind of hyper realistic artificiality that Shaw Brothers films had.
Yes, yes.
Because those were mostly on sets, but this is even better. And it has a great, and also, but the reason it's like a Memento film, while it's like a Christopher Nolan film, because the movie starts, it's eight villains trying to find this MacGuffin, because they try to get this. Oh yeah, this poster is very accurate. It's very accurate to this movie. It's everybody's going every which way but loose, and they're all incredibly somber and all not somber. They're all wild characters. They all have individual characters. But about, I don't know, maybe a quarter of the way through, maybe a third of the way through, Christopher Nolan stuff starts happening. Memento, Tenet stuff starts happening.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's from the novel, because the novel was mostly about the battling between these 8 families, because they have these 8 villains who are trying to get this map to the ultimate treasure. But they're all having wars within each other in the book. In the movie, they just cut it down because the movie is, again, like 90 minutes long.
Yeah.
No, this movie is an hour 46, so they're trying to do more of it.
Okay.
But it's all about trying to find this map.
Right.
But things will happen in a scene. And then suddenly words will come up on screen saying 5 years later. And then something will happen. And then more words will come up saying 3 years ago. And then they'll say, they start doing this all the time. You don't know where you are anymore. I didn't know where I was, but I didn't care, because it was all fascinating, because they were clearly they were having fun with the wuxia genre.
Nice.
But the one thing that was bothering me is that they kept building to fights that didn't happen. Show the poster again. You notice nobody's touching each other.
Yeah. Okay.
They're all swinging, leaping, flying, pushing, pointing. Nothing connects. They're constantly building up to fights that don't quite happen. And I'm just going, this is incredible. This movie, it's wild and it's frustrating, but it's also really good. And it isn't until the last 3 quarters. Again, once they hit the 90-minute mark,
Yeah.
they said, okay, the plot's done. Let's go. And the whole movie, again, show the poster. Most of the movie looks like the poster. Do you have that other picture of the 2 girls fighting that I sent you?
No.
Oh, shoot. Well,
right.
I know you can put it up someplace. But in any case, suddenly it turns into Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. They have a fight between 2 women. They actually fight. And it's clearly based on the fight between the 2 girls in Hero, excuse me, not Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, excuse me. This is Hero, the fight between the nature fight, the fight in nature.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, in Hero, this was clearly based on that, but it's just like they walk through a curtain and they're in a beautiful Technicolor land. Because up till then they were in the monochromatic gray and white land.
Yeah.
But once they get into that new land, all bets are off, and the fights start happening, and shit goes down, man. Shit goes down big time.
Nice.
And it was like, so it's like Li Qiao was the director who worked, and the producer is the guy who did Brotherhood of Blades 1 and 2.
Okay.
And
those are entertaining.
Yeah, and also Kao Hua and Cheng Chuan Yong did the choreography, and they both worked on House of Flying Daggers and Hero.
Here you go. Boom.
There it is. There you got the picture. That's where they go into Happy Land.
Nice.
It's just again. At first, I was frustrated and said, "Oh, I'm going to fast forward to the fights," but I couldn't. I couldn't find the fights. The fights were so the fight starts here. 10 minutes later, the fight goes there. Half an hour earlier, 3 years later, it just was amazing. But the villains are really good. The villains are also from Hong Kong cinema.
Nice.
And Kung Fu, because I could, all of these movies I could watch again because they're very meaty. These are delicious. These are pumpkin spice movies.
Ooh. Nice.
This is a pumpkin spice smoothie. All of these movies.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right,
again,
all right.
Guys,
quick little. I gotta give a little
Yeah.
recommendation. All you martial arts movie lovers, I'm sure you guys already know about this film. Rick knows, but one of my favorites is The Magic Blade with T. Long. That's one of my favorites.
That's Chu Wan. Chu Wan directed that.
If you guys have not seen Magic Blade, check that out. It's a classic.
Yeah, just see where it's playing. If you have your check your computer to see where you can watch The Magic Blade. See if it's on Amazon Plus or whatever.
Yeah.
Magic Blade, because also Magic Blade was based on the Man with No Name spaghetti westerns. Because he had T. Long have his sword. He wore a serape, he wore a poncho, and he had his sword in a holster.
It's so good.
He would spin his sword because it looked like a tonfa, and he'd put it in his holster. And
it's so good.
It's a great movie. It's one of my favorite Chu Wan wuxias.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
Now we're stuck back on Disney Plus.
Now we're stuck. All right. So now that it is over, Rick, Ahsoka, was it worth it? Did they waste their time? What's going on?
No, neither of those two things. It's
Okay.
somewhere in between those two things.
Okay.
Because we talked about it last episode. We talked about it in the September episode.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen the finale yet. I saw the finale.
Okay.
At first, I had a what was it? What was the first of the new? I had the Force Awakens. I had the Force Awakens syndromes because I watched the finale and I went, "Oh, that was good. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I like that." And then I sat there and I talked to the wonderful Elisa Grant, who comes with us to the Comic-Con and stuff. And I talk to her every Wednesday. We talk about what movies we watch that week. We don't do it on YouTube. Maybe I'll suggest that we do it on YouTube next time.
Sure.
But we both sort of went, that was that was really, because also I love Dave Filoni, and I want Dave Filoni to do well because I loved his ethereal hand. But this movie, this finale, was basically, I realized after it sank in, was pretty much unsatisfying in every possible way.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, what a shame.
Michael says he enjoyed it, but it seemed like it was rushed at the
Yeah.
end.
Oh, yeah, there was. I enjoyed it too until the end.
Yeah.
And I think back because I wanted it to, I was getting all excited about the ending. This is going to be great. This is going to be great. And when it wasn't great, I just sort of went, oh, good. Yeah, I still love you, Dave. I still hope you get to do a sequel to this and set this up. But you didn't set it up well. It just sort of left me, it just kind of dropped me off.
Yeah.
It dropped me off in the desert. It's like,
well, I was excited to eventually check out the show at some point just to see what the big deal was with Thrawn. And I came across a couple of comments and some reviews, and they were like, so the Thanos of Star Wars, this guy is not built up to be. He's like this military genius. He's always 10 steps ahead of the heroes. And they were like, well, they made him look like an idiot.
Well, no, I don't think they made him look like an idiot.
Okay.
They made Ahsoka look like an idiot.
Oh.
They made us look a little bit like idiots because, I mean, he was 10 steps ahead and he got away. And okay. And they had the big fight again between Ahsoka and Inosanto. And that was a good fight. But again, and also all those stormtroopers in the background are all zombies. They're made into zombies. And
is that like, good or bad?
Well, at first I said, interesting.
Okay.
And then later I went, bad. It was like, oh, I mean, I spent a lot of time. Why did you do that? Why did you do that?
Yeah.
Both Marvel and all of Disney seem to have lost the ability to tell a cohesive story. As a writer, I know if you have a setup, Alfred Hitchcock said this, if you create tension in the audience, you are duty bound to release it. You are duty bound to release the tension, or else you'll have an unhappy audience.
Yeah.
And all Marvel and Star Wars seem to be doing now is doing the setup, but not doing the payoff. And so they're getting what they deserve, which is unhappy audiences going, this is not, we love you. We want to love you. Mm-hmm. Indiana Jones, we want to love you. Star Wars, we want to love you. Superhero, Marvel superheroes, we want to love you. Please stop not letting us love you. Stop doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched a little bit of the new South Park movie, which
it was hilarious, by the way.
Oh yeah, which enter the Panderverse.
The Panderverse.
And
Panduraverse.
The Panduraverse.
Pander. Yeah,
not
hilarious.
Panda. And of course, one of the main villains in the whole movie is Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah.
And I went, okay, I'm not alone.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ahsoka was disappointing.
Yeah.
Ming Q did the choreography.
Okay.
In Ahsoka, the stunt fight coordinator, and he did a fine job when he was allowed, but at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, fans are tired of seeing. This is what I'm seeing. Fans that are tired of. They're tired of Ahsoka the White. Ahsoka with no really personality.
Well, she wasn't. Ahsoka the White. She had no personality at the beginning. When she turned into Ahsoka the White, she should have gotten personality, but they didn't. Okay. She was the same as she was the first. I forgot who described it, but basically, I think it was like Screen Crush or New Rockstars.
Okay.
They both said, "Oh no, it was the that guy who does the movie when he's trying to sell a movie to the producer. I forgot what those things are called. It's a whole bunch of YouTube things, but he says she just stood there with her arms crossed.
Yeah, yeah,
and that's all. And he was right, and that's a shame.
Yeah.
And now, Loki.
All right, now Loki season 2. I am of the minority. I was not a fan of the Loki season 1. I did like 2 episodes. I liked 2 episodes of Loki
Right.
season 1, but overall, I was not a fan. It felt like bad Doctor Who, the first season of Loki.
Well, you you hit the nail on the head.
Oh,
I do not call this Loki. I call it Doctor Hookie.
okay.
Because, first of all,
Uh-huh.
they're going to finish with Doctor Hookie, and then Doctor Who's coming on to November 25th on
Okay.
Disney Plus. The new Doctor Who is coming on Disney Plus.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
So the opening of the episode this week, it starts basically in the TARDIS. You see, it's
What?
they're doing the opening of the Doctor Who.
Okay.
They're going through the time streams, but it looks like the opening of Doctor Who. And I'm going, is it this obvious? I sent you a picture of the new Doctor Who
I'll
and
find
Loki
it.
side
I'll
by
find it while you're
side.
talking. Yeah, yeah.
And it's like, so this is Doctor Who, absolutely no question. He's a time
Wow.
traveler throughout the whole thing, trying to set things right. He's learning stuff.
Okay.
And as such, we'll have to see again how this ends. Because I'm enjoying the episodes. It gets pretty violent, gets pretty dark. It has a wonderful bunch of actors and a wonderful bunch of characters. But it's being show run by the Rick and Morty producer. And I don't and I don't want any more multiverses.
Right, right.
I mean, because this, they're producers of Multiverse of Madness. The stunt fight coordinator is Lloyd Bateman, who also worked on Hawkeye, and he was the assistant stunt fight coordinator on another one of my favorite horror movies, *Malignant*. So I like the action.
You like the action. Okay.
I like the editing. But again, I can't pass. There we go. Dr. Hookie. Or is it, is the O and Loki is a long O, so it's Dr. Hokey. Dr. Hokey.
But
So,
are you enjoying it so far?
yes, I am enjoying
okay.
it. It's extremely well made. Again, wonderful actors. But let's see how it ends. Let's see if it's just a setup for something else. There we go.
How's our boy here, Keith?
He's awesome. All of this beautifully made, very interesting as a science fiction writer. I mean, I appreciate the concepts.
Okay.
But again, if Marvel and Star Wars shows on Disney Plus has taught me anything, is that I cannot pass judgment until the last second of the last episode.
That's smart.
Because they can completely screw you over.
Yeah. So far, so good as of right now.
I'm enjoying it.
Compared to season 1.
Well, I enjoyed season 1 too.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Okay.
Yeah. But I'm enjoying this one more.
All right. All right. Copy that. All right. So we're going to wrap up this part of the action film Autopsy. So those of you that came in late, hey, appreciate you coming in. But we're going to do the really quick Rick's recap of every film and show discussed tonight. And then after that, we're going to go into Rick's top 10 horror films.
I just did it while you weren't looking.
Okay, do it again.
Okay, so put up the posters.
Okay, all right, here we go. Yeah. Saw X.
Let me get there we go.
All right. Totally Killer. Why does it sound like Alan Rickman there?
I don't know. Hello, right. Clarice. You sounded like a
ballerina. Ballerina. Okay. RDX. All right. The Flying Swordsman. All right. There we go. We're teetering a little bit.
Wait a minute. 3 years ago, 5 years later, half an hour before.
All right. ASHOKA. Okay. And so far, as of right now, here we go. Dr. Hookie.
Dr. Hookie.
Yeah, there you go. All right, we're teetering there a little bit. Okay.
No comment until the last episode.
Okay, all right. Copy that. All right, now it is time. Happy Halloween, everyone. That everyone who's watching right now, it is time to get into Ric's picks here. Ric, before we go do the countdown, what is some of the reasons why you picked these titles?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I've been seeing movies for more than 60 years. So I've started also I've started in horror before most of you were born. So I have written horror novels. This is three of my horror novels. This is another one of my horror novels. This is my Blood Demons, which is the history of the vampire. I have also written an entire horror section in the world of exploitation films. So I know a lot about horror. I also was the assistant editor of Movie Monsters magazine and Famous Monsters of Filmland magazine. So I grew up with horror. So I knew horror from the beginning. I also, as a writer, know that horror is fear of the unknown. Slasher movies are not really horror. Slasher movies are fear of the known, which is terror or murder or slasher movies. Horror, however, is fear of the unknown. So I started, and also I saw these movies before everybody ripped them off. The great horror movies started in the 1930s, but then everybody ripped them off.
Yeah.
And so all you youngsters, you're not enjoying the originals as much because you've seen all the knockoffs. So you're used to all the knockoffs. And of course, the first great horror movie was in black and white. And does anybody watch black and white anymore? So that's why I chose.
I do. Yeah.
There you go. That's what I chose. These are the greatest. These are not. I think these are the greatest horror movies I've ever seen.
Yeah,
but remember,
yeah,
I'm not intrinsically I'm not a fan of murder or villains. I don't like villains. I like heroes. I like detectives. I don't like the villains.
Yeah, this is your own personal picks.
These are my favorites.
Yes, and I'm digging the shirt, by the way. I forgot to tell you that.
Oh, yeah, of course I wore this.
That was great. Yeah,
I can only wear this once a year.
Yes. Well, first up, we have two honorable mentions before we get to the list, starting with number 10.
That's at the
up
end.
First is, and both of these are two of my favorites.
No,
too.
actually, we should start from number one.
Oh,
we should start from number one.
You want to go 1 to 10?
Going through time. We're going through time.
Okay, we can do that.
Yeah, I'm doing it in order of release.
Okay. So no honorable mentions right now, and then the list.
Right. Honorable mentions are just later on. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So Mr. Vampire, classic,
is an honorable mention, but
mention.
That's number one. That's not number one. Yeah.
No. I'm getting the honorable mentions out of the way, and then we
no. Do the honorable mentions at the end.
Okay, we can do that. All right, we'll do that
because they're part of. They're in the correct order.
Gotcha. Okay. Next up, we have number one. Here we go.
Of course.
Frankenstein. Yes. Classic.
People, you have no idea. I did not. Of course, this came out in 1931. I hadn't been born for more than 20 years after that yet. However, I do know. When I grew up, I met people who had seen it when it first came out. People were screaming, people were fainting, people were falling apart. It was a huge hit. And even today, it's still one of the great classics. And it has pathos, and it's smart. It's beautifully done by the wonderful director, James Whale. And it's an absolute classic. It is the foundation of horror movies.
Yes. It's alive!
And then...
This blew me away.
They followed it up with
The Bride of Frankenstein. This blew me away, man.
James Whale was, a tortured, closeted homosexual, and so he did Frankenstein hoping that it was liked, and it was loved, and it was a huge hit. So the studio said, "Do whatever you want," and he went boom. And again, Bride of Frankenstein is
so good.
It's just outlandish, hilarious, frightening,
hilarious,
sad, tragic, amazing. It's a black comedy. Yeah. We belong dead.
Yes. So good. And this
Awesome.
one, speaking of legit,
Yeah.
horror
Yeah.
Dracula, man.
I saw Dracula at the same time that I saw Frankenstein, and Dracula with Bela Lugosi just didn't do it for me. It was too mannered. But when I saw Peter Cushing, especially as Van Helsing,
Yeah.
and Christopher Lee as Dracula, I went, now that's Dracula.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, his first major, the first time you see him as the vampire, when he reveals himself as a vampire, it's like effing unforgettable.
Yeah.
And the whole thing was just, and also the climactic sequence is still one of the great action moments of all time, when Peter Cushing leaps on the table, runs across the entire room, leaps up onto the curtains, pulls them down, and the light goes on to Dracula. And then to keep Dracula in the light, he takes two big candlesticks, makes them into a crucifix, dong, holds it up against him. Just still one of my favorite movies of all time, of any
So
genre.
good. So
Yeah.
good. So good.
Just a great movie.
Number 4. Now, I have not seen this one, Rick, but this
Yeah.
looks wild. The Devil Rides Out. Look, I'm sold. I'm sold already. Christopher
And well, you
Lee.
should be. Now, this is the reward that Hammer Films gave Christopher Lee for playing Dracula. He says, now you get to play a hero. And Dennis Wheatley did this series of books about a supernatural detective, a supernatural doctor, someone who investigates. And that's my favorite kind of horror movie, where it's not just anything goes and let's just find ways to kill people. Because a matter of fact, my 3 novels, my books of the undead, were all about correcting horror movies that left me hanging. And basically, the thing I loved about Living Hell is I talked about the actual situation in religion and in the supernatural. And that's what The Devil Rides Out is all about. It's not just the devil can do anything. It's also the great character that Christopher Lee plays finds a way to do the correct thing to keep evil from winning.
Nice.
So it's a wonderful. It's like he's the Sherlock Holmes of the supernatural.
Oh,
Actually,
yeah.
there's
All
no
right.
question. That's exactly what he is. So
That sounds
yeah,
awesome.
it is awesome, and I highly recommend it. And I believe I saw it recently again. I'm trying to remember. It was on. I don't know if it was on Netflix, but again, just type in the title and find out where you can watch it for free.
Yeah.
I bet you it'll be on Tubi,
Yeah, there you go.
along with Horror and Dracula and everything else. Yeah,
Again,
definitely.
yeah, I'm sold on the poster too, like pretty
Yeah.
much for sure.
It's a great movie.
Nice. It's going on the list. Now, Rick, when I reviewed this many years ago, I was a little tipsy. I was drinking the sauce. Okay, I was a little tipsy. But I understand. I totally get why people think it's a classic and why people really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the finale was hilarious,
Yeah.
but I understand. So next pick is Don't Look Now.
Again, you are a perfect example of what I was talking about. You had seen all the other movies that came afterwards. So by the time you got to this, it didn't have the power. Also, you didn't see it in the cinema, did you?
No.
I saw it when it came out. This is Nicholas Roeg. This is an astonishing movie about the nature of the devil inside of you. This is all about trusting yourself and the terrible horror that can occur if you don't. And it also has one of the great sex scenes of cinema.
Yes. The most realistic looking sex scenes in cinema.
Apparently it was real. But
what?
Apparently it was. That's the rumor. But
wow.
It also is a story. It is a beautifully made movie where every single shot adds to the aura.
Yeah.
And I saw it. I will never. This is one of the great theatrical experiences I've had in a movie theater.
Wow.
Along with 2001: A Space Odyssey and Dr. No and stuff. It was in the movie theaters, and it just permeated my soul. And the ending, when it happened, came as a oh my fucking God,
Yeah.
that's the price you pay. I mean, basically, to explain it to you, that was his inner demon.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand everything. I get it.
Yeah,
But at the time when I watched it the first time, I
yeah,
was
yeah.
drinking
It
a
was
little
too
bit.
late.
Yeah. It was
I saw it when it came out, and
yeah.
it was just like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
pretty
I
astonishing
don't regret
work of
buying
art.
it though. I don't regret buying it.
It is the only,
When I revisit it,
yeah.
I may like it a lot more.
I think it was the first work of horror art.
Ah.
It was cinema. It was also I loved it because it's one of those movies like Memento that could only be done as a movie. You couldn't put this on stage. You couldn't do this as anything out there than a movie.
Right, right.
And so it worked extremely well for me in that respect as well.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of fans for that
Yeah,
film. But
it's a great one.
this one's a great pick, Rick. I
Yep.
love this movie. It blew me
Okay.
away when I saw it for the first time. The Exorcist, man.
Another work of
Man,
cinematic art. Yeah. Yes, The Exorcist.
so good.
Yeah, it's a classic. It's again about the nature, not necessarily of the devil, but certainly about demons
Mhm.
and their power. And it's also just beautifully, beautifully done.
It's just so good.
Max von
It's
Sydow.
so good.
Yeah, it really is great.
Well, I have to ask you now, since
It's legit.
this is one of your picks.
Yeah.
The Exorcist Believer film that's in the theaters right now. Are
Yeah.
you interested in checking that out at some point and talking about it?
Yes,
Okay.
I have
I
it. I have it to see. I chose not to watch it this week.
okay. Why is that?
I'm overdosed.
Oh, okay.
I watched a bunch of. I mean, I was so happy with Saw X and Totally Killer that I
Yeah.
didn't want to fuck it up by seeing
Right,
something
right.
that just pissed me off.
Yeah. Nice. Copy that. Yeah, Exorcist is great. Oh, it's so good. So
I
good.
have
Did you
so
see
you-
that? Did you see that in theater too?
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Oh,
Was
yeah.
the crowd tripping out?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm trying to remember where I saw it. I could have sworn, I remember seeing it alone, but in a
Yeah.
theater. Oh, I think what year was it? Tell me what year it was. I
For
put
The
it down.
Exorcist?
Yeah, I think it was 73
I'm gonna look it up right now while you're talking.
because I'm pretty sure I was working at a movie
Yes.
theater in
73.
73.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was working at a movie theater in Orange, Connecticut, and so I saw it alone in the
Oh
theater.
God. Oh God.
Because also I was not a protege. I was learning how to be a projectionist, 35 and 70 millimeter projectionist. So he showed, so I was able to rack it up and show it to myself, and it was like, it was just amazing. Such a great movie.
Next up is
Yeah.
Lady Fat Blood's one of her favorite horror films of all time, Carrie.
She has good taste. Look who she
Nice.
married. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, a great movie.
So good. I was so disappointed with the remake.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like they missed what was special about this movie. You can't just redo the scenes and that's it.
I'm not crazy about Brian De Palma, but to my mind, this is his best movie.
Wow. Yeah, just classic for sure. Next on Rick's list, Alien, another favorite, Lady Fat Blood's favorite and mine.
Great
Alien.
science fiction film, great horror film.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I was on the set.
Oh,
So
that's right. Yeah.
So it was hard for me not to. But no, I've been on the set of a lot of stuff that wasn't as good as this.
Right.
I'm just very unhappy with what Alien has become.
I get you.
The
I
most
get it.
recent Alien, I thought, was one of the most hateful things I'd ever seen, and I was very, very
Yes.
unhappy with it.
I agree. I agree with you.
Especially because, yeah.
Were you blown? I mean, like, obviously you were blown away, but the audience's reaction when this came out, like,
Well, I
what
saw
did-
since we had done. I was the head writer of the official Alien tie-in magazine,
oh, that's right.
and
Yeah.
I had held the alien head in my hands, and so I knew so much about it already. I thought the movie was just terrific, but nothing blew me away because I knew everything that happened.
Right. Yeah.
I talked to everybody. I saw all
Seen the
special
spoilers.
effects.
Yeah, you saw that.
Yeah. So it was just, but it was so thrilling and so exciting and so well done. When I put it all, I was at the screening, the New York premiere, the cast and crew screening,
Yeah.
and it was like, and then I went with my buddy who also worked at Famous Monsters magazine, and we went to see it in the theaters, and there the audience was like,
Yeah.
screaming.
Yeah. Nice. Now this one I've never heard or seen this one, Rick.
I figured, yeah.
Hell Has No Boundary.
This is my representation. I strongly recommend. This is why I wanted my honorary mentions to be at the end. This represents the Shaw Brothers horror movies. This is one that I remembered seeing. Unfortunately, as I remember it, it may not be the actual movie that I saw. I may have put all the great moments of the Shaw Brothers horror movies together in one big movie in my mind.
Ah.
Because as I remember, the Shaw Brothers horror movies, the way I term them is no orifice goes unstabbed. And also it's maggot-otastic.
Okay.
Every single one of these movies is basically about a disgruntled soul who takes revenge from beyond the grave. These are all Chinese demons. And
Yeah.
Chinese demons, they love the maggots. They love the worms. They
Yeah.
love the knives. I swear at the beginning of this movie, it's a very simple story. A demon is upset, and the demon takes revenge on a variety of innocent and not so innocent people. But they
Yeah.
do it in outlandish and freaky ways that are designed to freak the audience out. Doesn't have to make sense.
Right.
It just has to freak you effing out. And so there's this scene. These were all done on location. These aren't on sets like the kung fu movies. It's locations. And there's this young lady in a tiny little Hong Kong apartment. You see she's in the kitchen. You see she's cutting carrots.
Yeah.
You see the city behind her. And you see behind, and also see in the corner, because all the Hong Kong apartments are very small. So this is all, packed all in. There's another, she takes one kind of knife and she puts it down and takes another kind of knife. And the knife she puts down on the table while she's cutting starts to vibrate. It's just vibrating more and more and more and more, and just vibrating more and more and more and more, making, and it starts to make kind of little clacking noises. Clackety, 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 clack. And it's finally, and you see, and you're all filming it from here.
Okay.
And you see the woman's face and you see the knife behind her.
Yeah.
And it's like, and she suddenly begins to, what's that noise? What's that noise? And finally, and it's clacking more and more and vibrating more and more. And she slowly turns around. And the moment she sees it, the knife shoots into her eye.
Nice.
Bam!
Sold. I'm sold.
Bam! And it's like, and I remember being in the theater going, "Wow, Jesus! Oh, Jesus Christ!" And of course, then there are a lot of maggots there. And I remember also the finale of this movie is that the possessed woman tries to escape from this Shaolin monk who is trying to exorcise her.
Yeah.
And the climax is in the Hong Kong airport. And they're just hurling bolts and stuff and crap at each other, and just bam, bam. And I'll never forget, because I was in that airport. I knew the room that they filmed it in, and there's the Shaolin monk and this maggot spewing demon battling each other in the airport.
I have to see this.
You have to see Hell Has No Boundary. You have to see Hex. You have to see The Boxer's Omen.
I have seen that. That's one of the craziest, most insane movies I've ever seen. You guys need to see The Boxer's Omen. It is insane.
Maggotastic, right?
Yeah,
Maggotastic.
it's insane, but entertaining as well. Human Lanterns, that's another fun one.
Oh, that's one of the best, because that's
Yeah.
a kung fu horror movie directed by the great Sung Chung.
Yeah, that's with Lo Lei, yeah. But yeah, I'm sold on this. I got to check this out for sure.
Hell, that's no
And
boundaries, man.
honorable mentions now. There's one. There's
Oh
only one
yeah, I
movie
forgot.
left.
I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
All right, honorable mentions before the last one. Mr. Vampire, another classic.
The Guyonshi movies.
So good.
Just terrific. I mean, entertaining kung fu, martial art, hopping vampire films.
Yeah, comedy, everything. Yeah, scares, action.
That's right.
Special effects, all
Just
that good stuff.
a complete entertainment.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Lam Ching Ying. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And another favorite of mine, A Chinese Ghost Story.
Again,
Out of all the three films, do you have a favorite one?
Of the Chinese Ghost Story?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the first one. Of course,
Yeah.
the first one.
2's really good too.
2 is very good, but the first one is the first one.
Yeah, classic. So good, so good. The third one, that was kind of like a reboot of the first one, kind of.
Yeah, it just wasn't. Didn't have the power.
Yeah,
They were getting to the end of the golden age of the Hong Kong cinema.
right. But yeah, this horror, hilarious moments, great special effects,
romantic moments, exciting moments.
Yeah. There's some
Wu Ma's
sexy moments.
Yeah, Wu Ma's one of his great performances as a wuxia swordsman.
Oh yeah, I love him in that. Love him in that movie. And now we have something a little more recently for Rick's last pick, The Conjuring, the first one. Yes.
Well, that's not an honorable mention. That's on my top 10 list.
Yeah, I'm just segueing.
And that again is example of what I was talking about before, like the guy who knows how to deal with, like The Devil Rides Out. Here we have the Warrens, who I met, who are actually real life supernatural busters, ghostbusters.
Oh, you met the Warrens?
Oh yeah, I met the Warrens. They came to the Amity, I think, senior high school, and gave my class a lecture. Now I talked to them afterwards because, again, I liked, and that's what I did in my horror novels. I always like to set up the situation, and everything plays by the rules. Everybody plays by the rules. It's not just anything goes. You can figure this stuff out because the afterlife, God and the devil are part of the human experience. So the idea that it would not be human based and they could get away with anything just didn't make any sense to me as a kid. So when I would see a movie where somebody went, no. We can figure this out.
Right.
We just have to find out what the rules are. Because they're playing by a different set of rules.
Yeah.
We have to find out the rules. And I love it. In The Conjuring, that's what they do. Again, it's a great with wonderful actors, great direction, a terrific story. I love all three of the Conjuring movies, even though the third one was more of a love story. But I said they earned the love story. The Warrens earned the love story. They're constantly just going there for horror. Don't go. Just go for the full cinematic experience.
Yeah. I enjoyed the first two. I still haven't seen the third one yet. Really quick before we wrap it up. Question for you, Rick. Your thoughts on the Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires?
Again, it's what happens when the Hong Kong Chinese work with a English-speaking company. In this case, they were working with Hammer, so that was a United Kingdom company. So what happens is that when they do that, they always say, "What do you want us to do?" I was talking about Yuen Wu Ping and would go onto the set of The Matrix and not tell them the way the action should be. He would say, "What do you want me to do?" And he would do what the directors tell him to do. So what would happen here is this could have been a great vampire kung fu movie, but instead they said to Hammer Films, "What do you want us to do?" And of course, nobody understands Hong Kong films like the Hong Kong people.
Right.
But they didn't do that. They did. So it was watered down. It wasn't what it could have been. And also, I know on the basis of Blood Demons, my most recent horror novel.
Yeah.
I know the history of vampires, and they had, and of course, Guyonshi, they had Mr. Vampire. They had their own vampire legends, which they completely submerged to do it the way Hammer wanted. So it's kind of like, oh well, could have been great. It was okay. It was still fun. It was still good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't great.
Copy that. But what was great are these 10 picks, 10 Rick's picks. This is top 10 horror films. And I'm sure if I'm sure he could do a top 20, top 30 if he really wanted to. So who knows? We may update this list for next year. We'll add to it. We will add to it. So happy Halloween, everyone. Thank all of you badasses for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And
Check
you
the
smart
links.
asses.
And
you
smart
wise
asses. And wise asses. Check the links in the description box below. Go straight to Hiya. That's right. Start a free trial. Check that link out in the description box, as well as the Urban Action Showcase and Expo. The event is a couple of days away. It's going to be exciting. Check it out. Go to the site, buy some merch, and I'll see you guys on the next one. A lot more.
And if any of you guys are in New York, come to the Urban Action Showcase, which you did the ad for at the beginning. If all goes well, I will be there to help you. I will be there to teach you Kung Fu.
There you go. You can see Rick and all these amazing legends
and
there.
Tell you about
in
Ninja.
Person.
Tell you about Ninja.
Tell you about Ninja.
Because we're doing the anniversary of Revenge of the Ninja.
Oh, it's going to be fun. So you're part of that panel.
I'm the Ninja Master.
Oh, that's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be and hilarious as well. So is Sam Furstenberg going to be there too?
I hope so.
That would be amazing.
I met a lot of them. It would have been wonderful. I met Shogasugi. I met Michael Stone, who created the original Enter the Ninja. It would be lovely. But it's up to the wonderful Demetrius Angelo. He'll come up with the magic.
Shout out to Demetrius.
Guests.
Yeah. All right, guys. Keep watching horror films. Enjoy it. And all of cinema. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Horror movies, baby.